Good morning and welcome to the Earth's Final Warning radio podcast. I am your host, Brian Delory, and as you all by now know, the Iranian nuclear deal brokered by the Obama administration has passed, and the Democrats in the Senate blocked the efforts of the Republicans to stop it. And so it is, in my opinion, a very sad day for America and for the world as well. I have a sound clip here from recorded 2 days ago when Donald Trump was speaking at the rally he attended up in Washington, D.C. to protest this deal. And I want you to hear the things he has to say. And then I'll come back and comment on his speech, and I have some other scriptures I want to go over with you, and then that'll be it. But I want you to first hear this speech. It's very important, the things he has to say. Take a listen.
An introduction, businessman Donald Trump.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's such an honor. I was called by Senator Cruz a few days ago, and he said, do you think we can get a really good crowd out here to protest this incompetent deal? And I said, boy, can we get a crowd. And that was 3 days ago, and look what shows up. And I want to thank you. So I've been doing deals for a long time. I've been making lots of wonderful deals, great deals. That's what I do. Never, ever, ever in my life have I seen any transaction so incompetently negotiated as our deal with Iran. And I mean never. Now, Ted and everybody else have gone through all of the details, and we can talk about the 24 days, which is ridiculous. We can talk about the $150 billion, which, by the way, they get, even if the deal isn't approved, they get it just for going to the table. We can talk about the fact that we have 4 wonderful people over there, and frankly, they're never going to come back with this group. And I will say this, if I win the presidency, I guarantee you that those 4 prisoners are back in our country before I ever take office. I guarantee that. They will be back before I ever take office because they know that's what has to happen, okay? They know it, and if they don't know it, I'm telling them right now. So I have a story that just came out an hour ago, and as President Obama calls him very routinely, he calls him the supreme leader. Our president is calling the person who is really the boss in Iran supreme leader, and I look at people shaking their heads, they can't believe it. But it just came out a little while ago. He said Israel will not exist in 25 years. Think of that. He just said this. He also said very strongly, very, very strongly, that this is the end of our dealings with the United States. We want nothing more to do with them. We're not going to do anything right here. We made this deal. It's a phenomenal deal. We're not going to deal with the United States anymore. And that's what he just said. And this was a very short period of time ago. So they rip us off. They take our money. They make us look like fools. And now they're back to being who they really are. They don't want Israel to survive. They will not let Israel survive with incompetent leadership like we have right now. Israel will not survive. And then when it's all done, or they think it's all done, they come out with these unbelievable, nasty statements that Israel won't be around in 25 years and that we have no dealings and we will have no further dealings with the United States. Now, the people that we were negotiating with and were working on the sanctions with, including, and as an example, Russia, who's selling tremendous missiles to Iran. You know that. Ballistic missiles being sold. All of these countries are going to do business with Iran. They're going to make lots of money and lots of other things with Iran. And we're going to get nothing. Nothing. We are led by very, very stupid people. Very, very stupid people. We cannot let it continue. We are a country that owes $19 trillion. We lose everywhere. We lose militarily. We can't beat ISIS. Give me a break. We can't beat anybody. Our vets are being treated horribly. It will change. We will have so much winning if I get elected that you may get bored with winning. Believe me, I agree. You'll never get bored with winning. We never get bored. We are going to turn this country around. We are going to start winning big league on trade, militarily. We're going to build up our military. We're going to have such a strong military that nobody is going to mess with us. We're not going to have to use it. I really, really appreciate this tremendous crowd. We are going to make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, there's several things that I need to address about this speech. First of all, the Bible tells us in Matthew chapter 24, Jesus was speaking in the Olivet Discourse, and he says that, and this is referring to the tribulation period, but it has a double fulfillment. Jesus says that in the end days, that there will be distress of nations with perplexity. Now, I'm here to tell you tonight that what is happening right now is a fulfillment of Bible prophecy. So you're watching Bible prophecy being fulfilled before your very eyes, because this situation just leads to confusion and perplexity. There seems to be no solution to the world's problems. Now, having said that, there's something I strongly disagree with. One statement Donald Trump made in his speech, and that is that this was a stupidly negotiated deal. Let me tell you something. There's nothing stupid about the Obama administration. This isn't a failure to understand how things work in the world, how negotiating works. This is Obama's desire for America. He wants to see America destroyed. He hates America. His anti-American wife hates America. And I pray to God that the judgment of God falls on them both, as well as every sellout in Congress that gave Obama the victory in this deal. But make no mistake about it, what happened in the Iranian nuclear deal was not a mistake. I believe it was intentionally negotiated this way by Barack Obama to put America, to make America look bad and to be subject to the Iranians. Because remember, Barack Hussein Obama is a Muslim sympathizer. He's done more to help the Muslims advance their cause than any president. And I mean, he's the president, so the things he does on their behalf carry a lot of weight. We have an idiotic, stupid, sellout Congress who refuses to stand up to this man. I'm sure he must have something on them. I'm sure that they must have been promised a lot to go along with his plan. But he has them in his pocket. And so whenever he wants to do something, if they dare to challenge him on it, he just writes an executive order and does it that way, which is not the way it's supposed to be done, but he does it and no one challenges him on it, and no, he is not held accountable for anything. Okay? But make no mistake about it. I repeat, make no mistake about it. What happened with this deal was exactly what Obama wanted to have happen. He wanted it to happen because he wants to see America destroyed. He wants to reduce America to the status of a paper tiger. Really, he wants to ultimately reduce America to the status of a third world nation. Again, this is Bible prophecy being fulfilled before your very eyes. And this deal puts America in jeopardy. It does not portend well for America's future because, the Iranians hate Israel, they hate America, and if they obtain a nuclear weapon, it is a distinct possibility that they could use it against our country. So, you just need to be aware of that. Now, there's some other things about Donald Trump's speech that I need to address. Donald Trump is saying when I'm elected president, which, by the way, I have no confidence at all that Donald Trump will be elected president because I don't think anyone else will be elected president either, because I believe that Obama is going to pull some shady business sometime next year in order to remain in power indefinitely. That is my personal opinion. I mean, we have to face the facts, folks. We're living in the last days. And, the world is under the judgment of God because they refused to believe in Jesus Christ. And we are headed to the time of the Antichrist. Those days are now upon us. We're headed inexorably towards that time. Now, I know that God can intervene. I know that God can put up kings and put down kings. And I believe Barack Obama is God's judgment, the instrument of God's judgment on this land. That's what I believe. So I'm not at all convinced that anything is going to change. First of all, just think of it this way. Obama has approximately 16 months left in office. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, he leaves office. And remember, let me just tell you this. Remember, it's about 2 months ago when he was in Nigeria, and he started kind of hinting at, I really like my job, but the Constitution says I can't run again. Well, we all know Obama's disdain for the Constitution. So, and he has just gone around the Constitution on everything. So, there's something I feel it in my bones that there's something this scumbag of a man is going to do to remain in office. And I don't even know that we'll even have an election, let alone a transference of power to another president. I just don't believe it, whoever it is. Now, Donald Trump keeps saying, when I get elected, I am going to make America great again. Listen, the only thing that Donald Trump will be able to do is what God allows him to do. Now, it just may be that Donald Trump is the man for the hour right now. I don't know. I have no idea. I like the man in many ways, but let me tell you something. I used to work at Mar-a-Lago. I've twice met Donald Trump, okay? When I was working, he was very nice to me, nice man, no problem with that. But when I was at Mar-a-Lago, there was an incident occurred that just prior to my starting work there, I had a supervisor who was responsible for directing traffic when Mr. Trump and his wife would come into town, which was quite frequently. And he had to stand out in the middle of the road to direct the traffic. And, so the what do you call it? For God's sake. Well, so Trump could pull into his property in his limo, the motorcade, if you will. I think that's a better way to describe it because it's several cars involved when Mr. Trump comes into town. So anyhow, my supervisor was standing there directing traffic and he got run over just as Trump's limo was pulling into his property. And according to this story, which was written in a magazine published by Mar-a-Lago, I don't remember the name of the magazine, Marla Trump jumped out of the limo and ran over to my supervisor and began to pray for him. And this article was written in the magazine, and in that article, they asked Donald Trump something. I don't remember, but he said that, oh, yes, Marla's very spiritual. I don't have time for God. That's what he said. And now all of a sudden, he's telling everyone that his favorite book is the Bible, and yet he is not willing to quote a favorite verse from the Bible. And I can tell you as surely as I'm sitting here, the reason he can't do that is because he doesn't know the Bible. He doesn't read the Bible. In other words, it's politically expedient for him to say that I love the Bible. It's the greatest book in the world, which is absolutely true. But, I don't believe he's reading it, and he's certainly not living by it. I don't see that in any way, shape, or form. And if he does have any religious background whatsoever, it's a New Age background because he was into Norman Vincent Peale. If you remember, he mentioned that early on in the campaign where he said he was going to his church. Now, something else I need to tell you, that when I was at Mar-a-Lago, I knew where the family was at all times, and I can assure you that the entire time I was there, they were never in church. And it's not that I don't want Donald Trump to become president. I think he would make a fine president in many respects. But this sort of newfound faith of his, I'm skeptical about that. But be that as it may, Donald Trump is just a man. And if God chooses to use him to turn things around in this country, great. I hope it happens. But what I'm trying to tell you is if it's not God's will, it will never happen. I don't care who's in office and what they promise, what they intend to do. Donald Trump is probably very well-meaning when he says those things. I'm certain of it. But, if God is not in it, it's not going to happen. And like I said, I'm not at all convinced that Barack Obama is going to turn over the reins of power if there is even an election held. I believe he's going to try to hold on to his presidency, even if he has to violate the Constitution to do it, because if it were at all possible, would use the Constitution for toilet paper. Okay? Let me tell you, that's how much he dislikes it, because he dislikes America, because he is a jihadist Muslim, and he is allowing many things to happen around the world because he is a Muslim, and he sympathizes with ISIS and the terrorists around the world. And so he's not ever going to do anything to, at least nothing meaningful, to try and destroy ISIS. If you remember when he did give the order for Osama bin Laden to be taken out, he was very, I don't want to show the pictures, they're too graphic. After everything that is shown on television these days, in terms of murders and killings, he's worried about people being, overwhelmed by the graphic pictures of Osama bin Laden laying there with his head blown off. This doesn't make any sense to me. He did that because it was his way of keeping the name of bin Laden from being smeared. Well, he didn't want any embarrassment coming to Osama bin Laden. That's what I believe. Then, after that, mysteriously, SEAL Team, SEAL Team 6 or SEAL Team 5 was inexplicably killed in a helicopter crash. They were on a helicopter they never should have been on in an area that was as I understand it, was a designated no-fly zone, and they flew right over that area, and of course the Taliban blew them out of the air, and all those people were killed. So it was sort of, to me, looks like that was Obama's revenge for the SEALs killing Osama bin Laden. Now, you may not believe these things. I do. This man in office is a demonic bastard, and he never should have been in office. And I only pray to God, that he will deal with this man and his fury and his power when the time comes. And I hope it happens before the whole world, because this guy he's a criminal. He shouldn't even be in office. There are issues with his birth certificate and all sorts of things. But this is why I entitled this message, The World in Chaos, because it's in chaos. I mean, just one thing after the other. Last week it was Kim Davis being thrown into jail for refusing to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. It's always something with this man. And he's always fanning the flames of racism and trying to stir up the races to, I believe, incite a race war in America. So everything becomes so violent and turbulent that it gives him the right to declare martial law. That way he can suspend all elections. He can retain power in the United States for as long as he is possible. And that's what I believe. That's what I believe. But your world is in chaos, and you need to know that. And again, what I just shared with you from Matthew 24 tells us that in the last days, the world would be in chaos. There would be distress of nations with perplexity. We have worldwide terrorism taking place. We have ISIS over in the Middle East killing Christians, burning people alive. Just yesterday or the day before, I believe it was, they killed an 80-year-old Christian woman, burning her alive, drowning people, raping children. I mean, it's just a horrible situation. And this man, this piece of garbage, that is unfortunately holds the title of president over this country. He's no more a president than I'm a president. I would be a better president than he is. This guy's a man who wants to destroy this nation. And so he wants to see Christians destroyed as well, because he hates Christianity, because he's a Muslim. He hates Christians. He hates Christianity. And he's going by the Saul Alinsky playbook. And that I don't have time to go into Saul Alinsky right now, but a lot of the things that he's doing are written in Saul Alinsky's book called Rules for Radicals. I suggest you read it sometime, and then you'll see how Obama's actions match up to what is written in that book. This man has nothing but evil intentions for the American people and for this country and for Christians around the world. And so that's why he doesn't take any action against ISIS, because, he wants this to happen. And so my message to you all tonight is that you pray like you've never prayed before, because we are in deep, deep trouble. The world is in chaos. And the one positive note that I can share with you all about what is now taking place in the world is that it is a fulfillment of Bible prophecy, and so the Bible has once again been validated. And that's really all I have to say. I realize that this has been sort of extemporaneous. I realize that it's probably not as well put together as I would intend for it to be, but once again, I'm in my car at work, and this is the only time I had to do this podcast, and I want to get the message out. What you're now seeing is a fulfillment of Bible prophecy, and there's something else I need to add. If you read Ezekiel, the fulfillment is in Ezekiel chapters 38, 39, and I did a podcast on that called the Iran nuclear deal, which is still on my podcast here at Spreaker. You can look up the Iran nuclear deal and listen to it, because it goes into detail, in-depth detail rather, about the prophecies concerning Iran that are written in the book of Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39. So again, the one positive in all of this is that this is a fulfillment of Bible prophecy this is prophecy being fulfilled before our very eyes. And, if anyone ever asks you, well, why do you believe the Bible's true? How do we know the Bible's true? Well, this is one thing you can point to. So I hope you've been blessed by this. I hope it helps you to understand, because a lot of people really don't understand what's happening. They can't figure out. They just can't believe that we have a president who wants to destroy the country rather than protect the country and save it. So that's all I have to say on this issue, and I'm just going to let you know, as I always do at the end of the podcast, that I have a new website, AmericanChristianRadio.org. There's a lot of teaching materials uploaded there that you can avail yourselves of. Just go to AmericanChristianRadio.org, and there's a lot of material that, very little of mine. I have a lot of material there from other ministries. You can avail yourselves of those materials, and I think you'll find them to be a blessing. And then there is my new app. You can download it from Google Play. The name of the app is Truth Central Christian Radio, and you can download that app, and then when you open the app, there's a play button there, and you can play back. I have sermons uploaded there, and they stream 24 hours a day. Not just mine. There's some mine and some others. And soon I will be doing a live radio program on the Zeno Radio Network, and you will be able to access that program through that application. And so I will keep you apprised of all the details concerning that as soon as I know something definite, because I'm not exactly sure of when this is all going to happen. There is some equipment I have to purchase first, because it does require a computer. I can't do it on my cell phone like I do this program, but it will be a blessing to you, and it won't be anything like what's on here. This will be a call-in radio program. Okay, as always, I leave you with this reminder: keep the faith and defend the truth. Have a good night, everybody.